Hi, I'm Sam, and I used to be the only child in the family. Mom and Dad did everything to make me live high. They gave me gifts, solved all my problems, and even excused me in front of teachers for absenteeism. But one day, everything changed. That day, as usual, I was returning home from school when I suddenly saw a pretty girl near our gate. She was obviously waiting for someone, but I didn't care. I went up to the stranger and said, "Only today and now, a last-minute tour of the surrounding area. Your hand, miss." Previously, such a pickup line always worked, but the girl suddenly pulled her hand out and looked at me like an idiot. "Get off before I call the cops!" How rude, and to be honest, insulting. No one had ever gave me such a cold shoulder, and I wanted to teach her a lesson. I took ice water and went up to my room and leaned out of the window to pour on the girl, but there was no one down there. I was upset, but then someone knocked on the door. I quickly hid the bucket of water and opened it. It was Mom. "Sam, let's go to lunch. We need to have a serious talk." I immediately guessed what was going on. My parents saw my report card again and decided to tell me off. Reluctantly, I went down to the living room, when suddenly I saw the very girl I was just going to pour over. It infuriated me. What is she doing here? "Sam, this is Linda, and she's your sister now. We took her from the orphanage." My eyes dimmed. Why did my parents suddenly decide to do this? Am I not enough for them? My spirit sank the lowest of the low. I spent the whole lunch pushing pasta around the plate and glaring at Linda, but she was smiling at me as if nothing had happened. In the end, Mom broke the silence at the table and asked Linda to tell a little about herself. The girl suddenly became very sad. With tears in her eyes, Linda told how she was bullied at the orphanage. The elders took away her food with treats, and she could go hungry all day. And when the teachers wanted to send Linda's drawings to a cool contest, they tore it up just out of envy. In general, I felt sorry for her, and I called my new sister for a walk. We got into a rap, and she turned out to be quite a good girl. I suggested we celebrate the acquaintance and making something delicious for dinner. We went to the supermarket and bought a bunch of kitchen stuff. But when I paid, Linda was suddenly grabbed by a security guard. "Miss, open your purse." "Let me go! It hurts!" "Don't make me use force." I pushed this guy away from my sister. "If you don't stop, I'll call the police." But the guard just grinned. He tore the handbag out of Linda's hands and pulled out the products: cheesecake, strawberry topping, and marmalade. "I'm afraid I'll have to detain you." I was in shock, but I quickly got my bearings. "No need, my sister just forgot to put it on the belt. I'll pay for everything." On the way home, I gave Linda a piece of my mind. She apologized for a long time and said, "Since childhood, the habit has remained. It's just that when I was little, my parents and I had to steal. I was constantly caught by sellers. As a result, my parents got tired of messing with me, and they sent me to the orphanage." Yeah, she had a tough time. I promised not to rat out on Linda to my parents, but only if she didn't embarrass herself like that anymore. At home, we cooked dinner together and invited our parents to the table. Mom was praising our pizza when she suddenly screamed, "Linda, baby, where did you get such a bruise?" The bruise was left by the guard's fingers. I was going to help my sister out and lie, but she beat me to it. "Well, Sam pushed me, and I hit accidentally." I couldn't help myself and kicked Linda under the table. What kind of nonsense was she talking about? She clasped her hands pleadingly, and my mother began to scold me. I suddenly didn't want to eat anymore, and I went to my room. Feeling anger, I couldn't sleep all night, and in the morning, I came down on Linda. "Why did you do that?" "Sorry, that's the first thing that came to my mind." I was about to let my sister go, but then Mom appeared. "Sam, are you at it again?" "I didn't even touch her." "Stop lying. If I see this again, I will seriously punish you." Again, this girl made me a scapegoat and didn't even stand up for me. I got angry again, but this time I cooled down faster. After all, the next morning I was supposed to get my Christmas present. All day I was preparing for the holiday. I decorated the Christmas tree in my room, made pancakes, and was so happy that I even forgot about the insults. And in the morning, as soon as the Christmas tree lit up, I took off my Christmas sock and pulled out a box. Yes! This was the Apple Watch I'd been dreaming about for so long. I was going to put on the watch, but then Mom snatched it out of my hands. "No, Sam, you're being punished for hurting your sister. Therefore, this gift is not for you, but for Linda." Happy Linda grabbed my watch and hugged my parents, and I just froze with my hand outstretched. I was starting to hate this girl. The holiday was ruined. I locked myself in my room and played Xbox, but I couldn't get that watch out of my head. I wanted to take a closer look at it. So as soon as Linda went to the shower, I took the Apple Watch from her room and ran to mine. But I bumped into my sister in the hallway. She saw her gift in my hands and screamed, "Mom, hurry up! Sam stole my watch!" What? I just took it to have a look. Mom came running to Linda's scream and started getting under my skin again. I defended myself as best I could, but no one believed me, and all because of that stupid girl. That day, I was determined to get rid of her. I just didn't know how. But my parents, unwittingly, gave me a great idea. When I went out into the living room, the happy mom was sorting through some boxes. It turned out that Dad gave her a set of luxury cosmetics for Christmas, and Mom just couldn't tear herself away from it. I immediately had a perfect plan in my head. In the evening, I waited until Linda fell asleep, took my mother's makeup bag, and sneaked into my sister's room. A couple of times, I saw my mother prearing herself, so I didn't get too confused. I painted the sleeping Linda with lipstick, blush, and eyeshadow. Then, I threw the makeup on the floor and started trampling on it. Everything shattered. That's what I wanted. I put everything into the makeup bag, returned it to its place, and, pleased with myself, went to bed. In the morning, I was woken up by a loud scream from my mother. Yeah, so she saw what happened to her new makeup, and is already running to punish Linda. I just couldn't miss the show and stuck my head into my sister's room. But instead of swearing, Mom stroked Linda's head. I decided to intervene. Wow, Linda, what have you done? These cosmetics probably cost a lot of money. I was hoping to annoy Mom, but she just smiled and even promised to buy Linda her own makeup. That was the giddy limit. I was left without a gift, and this girl was spoiled for such serious screw-ups. I urgently needed to share it with someone, otherwise I would just have to burst with anger. I invited my best friend Andy to play a video game and casually told him about my nasty sister. Andy agreed and nodded understandingly. When Linda suddenly came down to the living room and my friend immediately got confused. He spent the whole evening chatting with that bitch. I was already at the limit. Everyone, absolutely everyone, betrayed me and took her side. I couldn't take it anymore, and as soon as Andy left, I told Linda everything. I hate you, understand? Hate you! And believe me, I will do everything to get you out of here and back to the orphanage! Linda started crying and ran away, and Mom grabbed my hand and offered to talk calmly. But I got free and went to my room. I was too angry with my family. All evening and the next morning, I kept thinking about how to get rid of Linda. But as ill luck would have it, nothing came to my mind. To distract myself a little, I decided to beat a punching bag in the gym, collected sports clothes, and was about to leave the house, when suddenly, the door opened abruptly and hit me on the head. I immediately thought of Linda and wanted to swear, but then I saw my parents. They were very scared of something. With shaking hands, Mom handed me her mobile phone. There was Linda. She was sitting tied up in the middle of some room, and next to her was a strange guy in a mask. Of course, I wanted to get rid of my sister, but not in this way. Didn't get it. Was she kidnapped? They demanded a ransom of $5,000 for Linda. Why are you just standing? We need to call the police urgently. But my mom shook her head and showed the text message. The kidnapper forbade my parents to call the cops. Otherwise, it will only get worse. It was necessary to do something, and as soon as possible. I started pacing around the room and thinking, when suddenly, Mom attacked me. Sam, admit it. Is this your prank again? After all, you immediately disliked Linda, and yesterday, you even promised to get rid of her. I was so sick of it. I grabbed my mom's phone and rushed it to Andy. He studied computer programming in college and could figure out where the threats came from. I had to save this girl and clear myself of stupid suspicions. I wasn't wrong about Andy. He did it in just a couple of minutes. According to Google Maps, Linda was on the far end of town, and I printed out fake bills on a printer, put them in a briefcase, and some real money on top. Andy and I took a taxi to the address needed. There was a small house in front of us, and it suddenly seemed painfully familiar to me. We hid under the window and cautiously looked inside. I was expecting to see anything, but not this. Linda was sitting there in front of the TV and eating pizza as if nothing had happened. I guessed everything right away. What an ungrateful bitch you are. My parents took you home and did everything for you, and you invented this kidnapping to get money out of them? And how did I not guess right away? I would have screamed for a long time, but then Linda laughed, and so did Andy. I suddenly felt like a complete idiot. Now explain what's going on around here. I wasn't about to rip our parents off. It's just that you really got to me with your frame-ups. When Andy and I met, he offered to fake a kidnapping so that you would understand that you cared about me. Of course, we asked your parents for permission. They not only approved, but even agreed to play along. Well, why are you angry? After all, the plan worked. I suddenly realized where I was. When Andy and I were little, we used to come here, to his grandmother. Even my best friend betrayed me. You can't imagine how much I hated Linda. Now it's clear why you've been stuck in an orphanage for so many years. It's just that no one wanted to take such a reptile into the family. Linda suddenly turned pale and sniffed, but I didn't feel sorry for her anymore. I took my money out of the briefcase and went home to pack my stuff. My parents betrayed me, and I didn't want to live with them anymore. Furious, I stormed into my room and grabbed my backpack. But then I saw a familiar box on the table. It was an Apple Watch, even more brand new than Linda's. I immediately put them on my arm, when suddenly my parents came into the room. It's from Linda. The other day, a fashion photographer noticed her and invited her to shoot for a glossy magazine. They paid immediately. We offered Linda to buy her a laptop, but she decided to spend it on a gift for you. It's very strange. You're mad at her for nothing. The girl has suffered so much already. Yeah, start selling how she, poor thing, was kidnapped and held hostage. That's enough. I know everything. Actually, that's not what we're talking about. Linda was first adopted when she was 10. There were 5 other children in the family, and all adopted. Parents didn't care about them. They took orphans only for the sake of benefits. One day, the whole family went out on a visit. When crossing the road, Linda stopped at a pedestrian crossing to tie her shoelaces. The driver didn't notice her and hit her. The girl had an operation, but for the whole 6 months, she was forbidden to get out of bed. Adoptive parents did not want to bother with a problem child, and they returned Linda to the orphanage. 2 years ago, another family took her in. At first, everything was fine, but then the father lost his job and started drinking. Linda got beaten up every night for all sorts of trifles. People from the guardianship authorities noticed large bruises on her body and deprived a couple of parental rights, so Linda was left alone again. But now, she's finally lucky to have a family. She didn't know how to behave properly with her loved ones, so her behavior might seem strange to you. Please don't hurt the girl. She's really good. I remembered what I said to Linda before I left the house. No one wanted to take such a reptile into the family. I felt a little ashamed. Linda had been bullied all her life, and then I bothered. I promised my parents to try to improve relations with my sister, but in return, I asked them to pay more attention to me and not arrange such stupid performances. When Linda returned, I thanked her for the gift and invited her to the cafe. Over time, we got used to each other and began to live like normal brother and sister. Of course, we didn't stop fighting, but now we reconciled much faster. I couldn't stay mad at Andy for long either. He began to come more often to our house. But not because of me, but for Linda. That's how I got a sister. And what was the last time you fought with your siblings? Tell me in the comments.